What's going on, everybody? I hope you're all doing well. You know what? I don't even need these headphones. I don't know why I have them on. So I'm sure you guys have probably been waiting for me to make another video. So because there's been a lot of things been happening in the markets the last 3 days. So it's been 3 days since I made a video. My last video I had talked about where I basically said that this rejection that we got off of this trend line off of Bitcoin was a concern. I did make the video. And this was a concern when we had this rejection off this trend line. Now, before I get into the technicals, I'm going to go ahead and update you guys on the portfolio and what that is looking like right now. So we have to go back to the 18th where I was at for my last video. So at the time, I was 42% cash, Solana was 35%, and Ethereum was 23%. When I saw when we saw this, okay, when we saw this was the 18th. So literally the day, I was like mostly in Solana and Ethereum. And when I saw this rejection off of this trend line, Bitcoin couldn't even cross and break this trend line, this 2 to 3 month trend line. Uh, even Ethereum couldn't even break, barely beat, what you call it, cross over this trend line. Same thing with Solana, couldn't break this trend line, right? So all three of them, Solana, Ethereum, Bitcoin, could not cross over this heavy resistance despite the Fed cutting rates. So that was a red flag. I mentioned that in my last video. That's why I have so many views on that video right now. Uh, so going to the following day, I made a huge adjustment on the 19th. Now, all of this is gone. Like I said, I don't care about price swings because at the end of the day, I only care about my systems. I don't make emotional decisions. I go based off what my systems tell me, what my indicators tell me, and I make decisions from there. Okay. But yes, all this is all gone. All these unrealized profits are all gone. Uh, on the 19th, though, I did sell all of my Solana after that indicator, that trend line that we couldn't break. That's when I ended up selling all my Solana. A little bit of profits, right? But I still remained in my Ethereum at 23%. Okay. Throughout the weekend, 77%. Weekend, 77%. Yesterday night, we had a big, huge liquidation. Humongous liquidation. They're saying this is one of the biggest liquidations we've had in the last few years. Um, so I did take a little bit of a hit in my Ethereum, which is fine. Uh, at the end of the day, it was only like hundreds of dollars that I ended up losing. Um, So as of right now, I made the correction today to go back to the 96% cash, 4% Ethereum. I'm still allocated, right? But right now I'm protecting my downside with this ratio right here. Okay. That's what the system's indicated to me. I'm protecting my downside because when I did my technical analysis last night and after the liquidation, and we're going through the process of liquidation, um, it's pretty evident that this liquidation is probably not over yet. But there's no room to panic. Shouldn't be panicking, right? Stay composed and just follow the systems. So we'll go ahead and get through the technicals. So as I warned back on my last video on the 18th, uh, this huge rejection, I wasn't surprised by the follow-up for the following day. And this formed a little bit of a bear flag. And then this turned out to be a huge liquidation, right? It fell out of this trend line that we were respecting for a good while. Now Bitcoin is struggling to come back up. The information I wanted to get for today was if there's going to be a lot of dip buying, right? And so far, we really didn't get that. We really didn't get that. This sort of looks like a dead cat bounce because you see this humongous engulfing candle. This is a huge engulfing candle. I mean, just last night, we lost about, I mean, we went down near like almost 3.5%. So with this in mind, the dip buying is not that much. So that leads me to believe that this is mean reverting on the downside. And there is no dip buying right now. Barely any dip buying. So same thing with Ethereum. Ethereum is still in resistance, okay? Uh, Now, Ethereum actually had a decent bounce from $4,000 all the way back up to near like almost $4,200. But again, the market is at the mercy of Bitcoin. So alts are going to get hammered from here if Bitcoin continues to correct, right? Because Bitcoin dominance is coming back up. And this was to be expected. Same thing with Solana. Solana had a little bit of dip buying, but still it's pretty weak. So as of right now, I'd say Ethereum is holding up pretty well despite this huge liquidation, but still very concerning in the short term because I'm still bullish for the rest of the year. Okay. So what do I think is going to happen from now to the next 24 hours? So we got to really go through this technical analysis, guys, and really go through this so I can give you guys the technicals and what I'm expecting. So Bitcoin not only is not respecting the daily moving average, it's also not respecting the 20 moving average and the 50 moving average. Both of them are dailies. So until we can see at least Bitcoin come back up to the 50 daily moving average and hold, which is right around 14,000, okay? Not $14,000, 114,000 rather. I still see more downside. Not financial advice, but I still see more downside. This to me looks like a dead cat bounce. And I'm going to be cautious here to protect my downside. Again, I'm still bullish for the rest of the year. This is a huge shakeout because if we're looking at the rest of the markets, sure, the VIX is up a little bit, but the VIX is not up that much. The volatility is still pretty low. It hasn't busted through this resistance. So volatility is fine across all markets, all macro markets. S&P 500 is still making all-time highs, new all-time highs every single day. So, say what you will, but Bitcoin is still in that category of risk on assets, okay? The S&P, the stock market is risk on assets. So the fact that the S&P is still trending upwards, right? And it looks like it's not going to stop. I mean, we can look at the RSI for the S&P really quick. I'm not going to even bother. It's fine. This to me seems to be like the market makers are liquidating all the longs before we go back up, right? So I don't see any volatility in the market. There's nothing macro happening that should cause you to be more bearish to Bitcoin or crypto. This is just a short-term liquidation, right? Short-term liquidation that can continue to go. I'm not saying this is the end, right? This is the end of the liquidations. I still think we can probably have another good couple of them before we bounce off, right? But again, it's going to require conviction. This is why we have systems. This is why we utilize our systems, because I'm sure most people probably ended up buying up here, right? Most people probably ended up buying a lot up here and probably just chilled. And most people probably didn't see this warning sign, okay? This huge warning sign that there was a huge rejection off of this trend line, despite rate cuts, right? So that is why I took risk off. Most people don't have systems like this to show that, hey, this is a red flag. Red flag is flashing, even a few days in advance, right? So this is why we have systems. This is why we protect our downside. Try to protect your capital. You have to protect your capital. If you don't protect your capital, you're going to lose your capital. You're going to lose it all, right? And FOMO buying and chasing, this is how you get liquidated, right? Even though if you're not long in the market, if you're doing spot, people are going to panic sell all the way down here, right? And not wait for the bounce, okay? Got to wait for the bounce. Wait for the bounce. When you see this bounce, you got to wait for that to get more confirmation. From what I'm seeing right now, okay, until Bitcoin can prove to me that it can respect the 50 daily moving average and hold the 50 daily moving average, I still see more downside. Okay. Is the bull market over? Of course not. The bull market's not over. Again, I'm not just making that up. That's technical, right? Like I said, guys, let's look at the weekly really quick. I know today's video is a little longer because of the events happening in the last 24 hours. So bear with me. But again, let me remind you guys, whoopsies. As long as Bitcoin respects the daily moving or the weekly moving average, which at this point right now it's at $98,000. Okay. Bitcoin continues to respect this and stay above this, we're good. Everything else in between is all volatility and all noise, okay? But still, it's still good to have proper risk management, okay? It's good to have systems. It's good. Sorry guys, I'm burping up really quick. It's good to have systems because it protects your downside in events like this, right? You got to be able to know how to do technical analysis. I know people think that technical analysis is all BS and all that stuff, but most people that say that's BS, most people don't know even how to do a technical analysis. So that's why it's important to know how to read a chart, know what you're looking for, and how to look at fundamentals, look at technicals, and all of that. So, close this video out, guys. I would say do not panic. There's no reason to panic, right? Do I think it's over? No, I don't think the liquidations are over. Not financial advice. I'm just speculating, but the fact that Bitcoin has not come back and respect the 50, at least the 50 daily moving average, and it just looks weak. So until we can get more respect off of these bands right here, I expect us to come back down and probably even either retest 111 or we can go as far as 107, right? So it's gonna be a long week. It's important. These are the times right now to be very diligent. Be extremely diligent, and it's a lot of competition, guys. I mean, we're going against Wall Street. Wall Street, the exchanges, that's who you're going against. 10% of all this right here, guys, is all retail. 10%. It's not that much. You know, retail in alt season is where you get those big gains in the alt season when, you got people buying the smaller cap market caps in crypto. So that's a different conversation. I don't want to get into all that. But anyways, guys, um, for right now, my analysis is telling me that there's probably more room for downside. I don't know if we're going to come back down, right? And bounce off this, or we're going to bleed through this. I don't know. Right now, 11.8 is the 100 daily moving average. So we already came all the way down last night to there. We can go back down there. And if we lose that, then we have 109, 107, and then 105. So anyways, this is some, short term bearish a little bit because again, this is technically a higher low. So we got two double tops right here, two double tops, okay? We couldn't break this resistance, so that's why we ended up coming back down during all that time, trying to come back up, swing back up, but then we failed. So this is technically a failed breakout. So this is not looking good. I'm not saying the bull market's over, but right now there is a lot of downside, and protecting capital right now is the main objective. Never short Bitcoin in a bull market because you never know when it just shoots back up and just melts your face. That's why I'm always spot trading. I always do spot. I don't ever leverage trade because that's where you lose all your capital. That's where you blow up your account. So as of right now, guys, this is a higher low, okay? That's not good. So until the charts tell us what's happening, as long as Bitcoin, again, is respecting the weekly moving average of $98,000 for this week, we're good, right? Bull market is still going. Until that time comes when Bitcoin crosses over the 50 weekly moving average on the weekly, that is when more than likely the bull market will be over. That is when I will exit completely, when that time happens. Until then, I remain bullish. So if you guys like today's video, go ahead and give me a like. I'm going to go ahead and update you guys, for the whole week. Don't worry. Don't panic. Don't panic. Again, buying opportunities. This could be potentially buying opportunities, but right now I'm not buying right now. I'm not buying right now. I need to see more confirmation. So as of right now, I'm holding my cash, right? And protecting my downside, okay? So anyways, guys, have a great rest of your day. Do not panic. I'll see you guys in the next video. And have a great rest of your day, guys. Peace.